So this is my video journal for the Laramie Project. So to answer question one, what did I notice? What about the play was strange, interesting, meaningful, etc.? First off, I thought it was very interesting that the play was based on real events that occurred, that the format of the play was not a consistent production of actors simply performing lines and moving from scene to scene, but rather it was more different, with there being many different interviews, diary entries, and other sort of accounts that showed the various perspectives around Matthew's death in the Laramie community. So to answer the second question, as the values in this dramatic world and how they were represented. Firstly, I think hate was obviously represented to an extremely high degree. So the murderers, Aaron McKinney and Russell Henderson, really showed extreme hate by not only murdering Matthew Shepard for his homosexuality, but also not even pleading guilty of this murder. So it shows that they don't have enough respect to, plead guilty for this hate, and that shows that they have very strong hate. On a separate note, though, I think empathy was also reflected throughout the play to a very high degree, because in the wake of Matthew's death, the Laramie community really came together and put aside their biases against the LGBT community, and many characters in the play, such as Jonas, Sloniker, and Jedediah, expressed that they may have become much more open, and the entire community became much more open and accepting to LGBTQ members. So moving to the third question, what I wasn't quite sure about, what I performed some research on. After doing some research on vigils, which I wasn't quite sure what the definition was, I found that there was a lot of different Christian and biblical references made throughout the play, and it seemed that there were many different religious ceremonies called vigils that were held for Matthew, in honor of Matthew. So it seems that the main conflict of what I learned from these different vigils and these different ceremonies is that many different individuals thought that this was a religious issue, and by performing these vigils, it showed that they were able to give enough respect and show love in a religious light, even for someone who is part of the LGBT community, which is something that's taboo in some religious contexts. So to move to the fourth question, in terms of the issue of diversity, I do think that Laramie is just depicted as a typical American town in the 1990s. So there's a very strong difference between acceptance and tolerance in Laramie. So it seems that many people initially had tolerance for homosexuality before the death, but after the death, they really had that acceptance, where they really thought that it was absolutely, not only just okay, but it was fine and good to be a member of the LGBTQ community. And I think they really want us to walk away with more acceptance. And Columbus as a whole, I feel like, is a little bit more open and a little bit more accepting, so I couldn't quite see this happening in Columbus. I hope it would never happen. To answer the fifth question about the three elements that are really separating it, first off, the play often uses interviews from various characters to express different views. Secondly, they use a lot of transcripts to provide a more realistic count of events. And third, they often use reporters to perform journalism so that the play is more of a documentary in nature. And so this really provides a more realistic view, and it enhances the meaning as a whole, as we're able to really realize just how real the events of this play was, that it's not so fictitious. My two questions are, one, would a hate crime like Laramie ever happen in today's world? Would there be more acceptance and movements towards accepting the LGBTQ community? And two, would it have been more impactful if the play was simply a representation of the events that occurred rather than a collection of perspectives about the event? Thank you.